All right, you legends.
I'm filming. Today is Wednesday. I'm gonna film and see how this comes out. So if you're watching this and it came out great, but the weather's gonna be real terrible this weekend, so we're trying to get some rides in during the week. So Laura's already here. We're waiting for mowing them.
So yeah. That's Laura loosening up in the parking lot. I rode for about an hour before I got here.
On this ride, I left Northampton, rode into the woodlands. I took the bike path, went out to Sterling Ridge, met the group at the YMCA, Ash Lane. We headed out. The ride just felt fast and hard all along Fishcreek there. We hit 105, went out to Highland Hollow. I kind of let them go for a bit, kept my tempo down, and then they waited. I caught back up. All of that's on film up into Willis. Then we went out to Shepherd Hill, came back, and of course it was lumpy up and down. I had to let them go on the feeder road there at a 5% grade, and then they waited for me at the corner. Got back in the pace line and let them go slightly before Taco. Then rode back in with them. The whole ride just felt a lot faster than I'm normally used to riding. We ended up averaging like 20.6 miles per hour, which is about 33K for the entire 60 miles that we did. It was just a very, very hard ride, and so it's going to take a while to get used to that kind of pacing. But I think you will like the clips that I got.
I heard they took away the shoulder.
Yeah, you have to go through, if you're going to do that, you have to go via Sap Road.
Sap Road, yeah, from Sap Road you got a shoulder.
What's
Sap Road is the little road on 2854. You know, if
We're
you
talking
took
about the
2854, you know how the old
construction on 105.
That's how far they've got the shoulder to
down through Tomball and then up Joseph Road to Magnolia, up north and back.
Because I was thinking about
Doug is suggesting a different route.
That's what I was thinking. Along Meyer, Shepherd Hill, kind of do something different. But
yeah,
I'm game. Whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah. I'm
So we settled on going long
I mean, how
Meyer
bad
Road.
is it if we get on 105 this section? There is no shoulder, but you can take the lane.
You can take the lane.
can
Yeah,
take
we've
the
done
lane.
that before.
You
Yeah,
can take the
we
lane.
can take the
Let's
lane.
make sure we.
Yeah. Until you get to the
roll
end of
it.
Fish Creek, we don't just jump in. We kind of
Yeah.
shouldn't be too much traffic.
No, because there are multiple lanes, so
There are 3 lanes actually. There are 3 lanes. They took the
It's
shoulder and
actually
made.
probably better because at least it's clean.
Yes,
But
they made it
then
a
we
3rd
take-
lane.
I mean, is there a reason we don't go 2854?
Because 2854, that's even worse. There's the little bitty shoulder.
Well, there's a shoulder though.
Yeah, I know it's a little tight, but there's no sun. If we were riding into the sun, it's dangerous. But with no sun,
So good. No,
What's
it'd be fine.
Yeah, well, that's with 2854. It's okay.
2854.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
yeah, because there's no. If the sun is out, it's so bad.
Yes, we're good.
2854 it is.
Okay, let's go.
Now just the more.
Abby's putting in his
please.
request.
He says that foolishness all the
To
time.
lower the pace. He said more on an old
No
man.
mercy.
You go there, yeah, Shepherd
Kenny
Hill.
said it was coming, right?
You know what I'm talking about?
I thought so.
We go, Doug, you know it, right? Once we get to Willis, we'll cut through Willis.
That Coal Town Road.
Yeah, go around Shepherd Hill and then come back to Lake. It's nice.
Okay.
Let's try not to get on the
Get to learn a new route.
So we're going to go through Willis, go north, and then go
Yeah, I've been there,
west
but I don't
to
really
Shepherd
remember
Hill.
all the details. Yeah, so that would be
We've been
cool.
there before.
Yeah.
It's a good ride for you.
Yeah.
But we went with a bigger group, and the pace was different. This group, there's only, I believe, 5 riders right now. Let's see, 5 riders. So when the group is small, the drafting is different. So we're on French Crossing here. I turned on the camera at this point. After we left the lot, I had turned it off, so I turned it back on. And you can see, I mean, we just left the lot, probably 2 miles, and we're doing 22, 23 into a headwind. It just stayed at this effort. I just had trouble finding any kind of a rhythm. Just not used to this pacing. So even though my heart rate says 146, it feels harder. So although I was just having a rough day, but I think it was the pacing. Just don't ride at this tempo. We're gonna have to do more rides with these guys. Because this is the kind of pacing when I used to race Pro 123. That's kind of what it felt like on this ride. Just all out of sorts. You would hear me later, I would tell Mo, man, you're killing me. And Mo's at the front pulling. 37K, 23, 24 miles an hour. So the remedy for this is to do more of these kind of rides. You know, put them into the plan and do more of them, and then train up to this level. And so when the light changed there, I mean, they're back up to speed quickly, so you can see my watts. So you've got to really stand on it. It's almost like a criteria to get up to speed quickly. So I just wasn't ready for this pacing. That's what I believe. This is Laura in front of me here. And she told me later that she was hanging on for dear life too. You know, she did well. She rode well. She was in there. We'll end up picking up Kenny on Fishcreek once we get across the bridge. Kenny lives out on the north side, so he rides in sometimes, or he drive in to ride with us. But on this day, he rode from his house. He lives off of 2854, so he rode in, and then knowing the route, he waited for us until we picked him up. And he said, man, you guys picked me up pretty quickly. He figured it was going to take us a while, because he knew when we were leaving, 7:30. Pretty much left on time. This is a slight grade here. We're going up. It says 2%. We're going up like 21, 22. And besides it being a grade, look at Laura's hair. That's the kind of wind we're dealing with. It's not very, very windy, but there's enough of it, and we're riding into the north wind. There's a front coming in. And after this front, you know, we stayed below freezing pretty much through the entire holiday weekend. This ended up being the only ride I did for the week. Just the Wednesday ride. Just got busy with other stuff, and I spun a little bit indoors on Thursday, but that was it. So this whole point here, I'm just not feeling it. You know, I'm just hanging on. I'm not aware. My heart rate says 161. It feels harder. I'm not aware of where the heart rate is. I'm just focused on, first of all, getting a good shot, because we're just in a line and it can be boring. So I'm trying to stay to one side of the other. I let them know cars by. Then I checked. The driver backed off to let us take the left turn. I let them know, if you're the last person, you got to kind of watch the caboose. This is a Research Forest Boulevard, and we're on Branch Crossing. We're going to turn left, going west, and then in about probably 3 kilometers, we'll turn right on Egypt Lane. You can see, look at the watts. We accelerate up to speed through the intersection. I was a little late going too, so I paid the price there. I had to work harder, longer. I should have stayed a lot closer. But if you're late going out of the corner and they're already doing, say, 22, 23, or 35K, you got to do 36, 37 to catch up. This is a slight downhill, so we're exceeding 25, 26 miles an hour. And all through here, I can't get comfortable. I'll try a high cadence, I'll go to a lower cadence. Look at my RPMs. I'm trying to find some kind of a rhythm. So my cadence all over the place. So the bottom line is I just wasn't prepared for this pace. I'm sitting right at sweet spot, but it doesn't feel like sweet spot. It feels harder than sweet spot, which I'm looking at the stats now, because when I'm riding, I just mostly focus on my cadence. But for the most part, I know this part of the ride. The whole thing felt uncomfortably hard. I was just trying to settle in and never got to settle in. You will hear me later on tell Mo once we get towards 105, man, you're killing me. So we're turning here on Egypt Lane, and you will see as we turn, well, the light's turning red. We're going to check. Nothing's coming. We got the right lane here. More turns. And we got to raise. We got to get back up to speed. So you see the watts go up. And so I'm a little gapped here. I'm not as close as I should be. So I end up getting back in line, but that was not a very clean transition. So I've got to pay more attention to that. I'm just going to have to ride with these guys more, the WCC guys. And because the group is small, we don't get the great draft that you get in a large group to where you get a chance to coast and do all of that. You really have to fight for the draft. You got to pay attention. There's only 5 of us now. We'll pick up another rider in a few kilometers, probably about 6 miles. We'll pick up Kenny on Fishcreek. So usually we'll go straight, but because the light is red and we got the left turn here, we more decided let's just go left to keep moving instead of stopping. So we turn left here on 1488 west. We're going to go to 2978, which is Fishcreek, about probably a mile up the road, about 1.5 kilometers up the road, and we're going to turn right, which will take us north. We're headed west right now. You can see my heart rate is elevated. It's coming back down, but it's all because of the rhythm. It's completely different, and I'm trying to search for a comfortable pace. My recovery is pretty good, but it still feels like we're going very fast, and we are. As I said, we averaged 20.6 on this route, and we went to Shepherd Hill. It's up and down. So this is 2978, which becomes Fishcreek, the same road. Usually we'll cut through the neighborhoods to the right and come out on this road. But to avoid stopping, we took 1488 then. Just keep the effort up. It keeps the effort going.
So I'm going left and right behind Laura, trying to find where the draft is, because it's changing. This changes. I'm in zone 4 and I'm in the back. So right here, I've settled into some kind of tempo here. I'm in a slightly larger gear, just kind of rolling in the 80s. I'm trying to find a rhythm and let my body kind of get used to this enhanced pace. I could put it that way. I think there's a red light. Abby runs one of these red lights and he waits for us. I think this is the one, yeah. So he runs a lot, we just wait. It's gonna change. I'm not sure why he does that. So it changes. Laura clips back in. You see my watts? That's to get back up to speed quickly. So I haven't been riding like this, where, 500, 600 watts at every intersection. And that's another thing that's different. So I just got to get acclimated. And the only way to do it is to ride with these guys and ride the way they ride. No other way around it. Well, it's still at the front. And he's got a nice cadence going, at least 95 to 100 RPMs. And he stays very low. I think we want to catch up with Abby soon. There he is. So he really shouldn't have run the light. There was no point to it. I stay on Laura's wheel because I don't want to break up my rhythm. I didn't want to break up my rhythm to let Abby in and then I have to get back up to speed. It takes a lot of watts, as you've been seeing. So I'm staying pretty much a little to the left of the white line. There's a lot of little stuff on this shoulder. The shoulder's kind of small. And using my mirror, I can see that they're giving us this lane for the most part. Every now and then somebody might pass close, but most of the drivers are using the left lane. So Abby's going back up to the front. I'm not sure what he's doing. Let's tell him more something. I think he's trying to slow mo down. Or just ignore him. He ends up blocking, what I call blocking, like you do in a race. Right here, I tell him to go ahead. But what he ends up doing on 105, he gets to the front to take a pull, and then he slows the pace down a little bit. Gave me a chance to catch my breath. But by that time, I had kind of like fried my legs. This whole stretch, I felt like I was in a Pro 123 road race. We were just moving. It was fast. So right here, I've got some kind of a rhythm that I found, and I'm just kind of sitting in. And what's going through my mind at this point is, do I want to do this for 60 miles? Because I end up doing like 84 miles a total ride, because I rode to the start and I rode back. But I knew that the route with them would be about 60 miles, about 3 hours, I would say. Yeah, so a little over 3 hours, slightly over 3 hours at this average pace of about 20 miles an hour. I was like, do I want to go this fast for 60 miles? So it's crossing my mind, but I just kept telling myself, just hang in there. you know, and I kept giving myself little parameters like, okay, hang in there for another few kilometers. That's all I'm telling myself. Just hang in. Maybe you'll settle down. Maybe you'll settle down. So even though my heart rate has dropped below 150, it still felt like I wasn't comfortable. Because from the time we clipped in, the pace was just high. And the only way to get used to this kind of riding is to actually ride like this. That's the bottom line. You push yourself. I leave a little bit of gap because we're descending at speed. You know, we're in the mid 30s, let's say 34, 35 miles an hour. There's nothing coming, so I use the road and then I get back on Abby's wheel here. I stay pretty much close to the white lines. A lot of debris to the right that the cars push when they go by. So most of this ride, we're primarily sitting in like a 85-inch gear or larger, like a 5317 or larger. So this is Fishcreek Blvd. We're coming to the first intersection here. Usually, I think it's a short light. It's red. Then it changes. So you got to be alert. Because once it changes, you got to get back up to speed. See the watts? So you want to do those short bursts and get in the draft right away. So you're not doing 600 watts for 30 seconds. You want to do it for a few seconds and get up to speed and settle down. This is a slight grade. I mean, in this direction, you're going up the whole time. But about 22 to 24 miles an hour, that's what we're doing for the most part, most of the ride. And then pushing on the climbs. So regardless of what my heart rate says, I felt like I was hanging on for dear life the entire time. So when you're riding like this to where you can't get comfortable, you're not as efficient because you're still searching to find a rhythm, to get an optimal tempo for yourself. So you end up just riding harder than you would if you could find a tempo quickly and settle down. I never really settled down. And you will see in about 20 kilometers, we come to a neighborhood with those steep climbs. I have to let them go and ride my own pace because my legs are cooked. I couldn't keep digging deep for that long. Somewhere around here, we're going to come across Kenny. He's already out here riding, knowing that we're coming. And he's going to slip on the back. Then after that, I'm going to wave him around me because I'm just struggling to stay on the wheel after a while. You'll see. I don't know what it was. I think it was just the pace. I think it's the way they're riding. I've got to get accustomed to it. I don't ride at 20.5 miles an hour in this terrain. So that's Kenny right here. We come across Kenny. Everybody greets him. He slips on the back. He was actually waiting for us. He knew that we're coming out. He lives out on this side of town. He's used to this rhythm. He rides with the WCC guys often enough. So the light's red here. We slow down. And believe it or not, these stops actually I think are worse because whenever we stop, it's like we have to go so hard to get back up to speed. I'd much rather just stay there. So I don't like the stops. I don't like the lights when it's very hard. Seems counterintuitive, but I'd much rather get up there and hold the rhythm. So we start to go. I'll go ahead and get back on Abby's wheel here. In about a couple of kilometers, I'm going to wave Kenny around because I still don't like the pace. I still feel like everything is just hard. It feels like the first time I did a Pro 1-2-3 race when I got into bicycle racing early on. Everything just felt super fast. Couldn't really find a great draft because in a small group like this, you don't get the benefit of, two riders in front of you in a big group where they're pushing a lot more air. You got to really work for the draft here. So it's harder in a small group. So there's 6 of us now with Kenny. So I'm going to wave Kenny around because he's bigger than Abby. And secondly, I started having trouble staying on the wheel. Once the bumps started hitting, they didn't back off. So I figured, okay, let me wave him around, and then I can kind of sit behind him because he's a taller rider and see if that helps me a little. You'll see me wave him around a little while. Now right here, after we pass Rich Lake Shores. So we're going up here, and let's say we're doing probably 2021 into the wind on a grade. It's anywhere between 1% to 3%. You can see the watts above 300. And because of the pace being so different than what I'm accustomed to, my heart rate's just going up. It's like my body's working harder than I'm used to when I'm sitting in. So it's like 168, I'm in zone 4. Which is fine, but ordinarily it doesn't feel as hard as it felt when I'm at these heart rate zones. This is Wrigley Shores. It goes up. You can see the watts because this is a little bit of a bump. And I think after here is where I'm going to wave Kenny around. So I've got to do a lot more training like this to get accustomed to riding with these guys. see right here, you see the gap to Abby's wheel? You see the watts I'm putting out, almost 4 something, 5 something? I'm like, man, this just felt hard. I think somewhere around here I'm gonna wave Kenny around. That gap is not by accident, I'm just not feeling it. But knowing the terrain, I'm riding crafted. This is why I wave Kenny around. Kenny comes around, and then I get behind Kenny. I figure, well, it's a taller rider. Maybe it will help me somewhere. I don't know. I didn't think I was going to make it over the overpass with these guys, to tell you the truth. I ended up finishing the ride with them, but they had to wait for me several times. I didn't think I was going to even finish the ride. At this point in the ride, I was seriously contemplating turning around, you know. But I kept telling myself, okay, hang on a little longer, a little longer. So right here, I got a little better draft behind Kenny. We're going into the wind. These are rollers. So when you see 25, 27 miles an hour, that's a hard effort. It's windy, it's cold. Well, not windy, kind of a light breeze, but we're riding into the wind. It's lumpy, you know, 6 Celsius, like the low 40s. This is the overpass. By the time we got here, I was like, okay, let's see what they do here. And I think I'm going to stand at the end. It just felt better to stand. I didn't think I was going to last. Right here, I'm standing. You see the watts going up again? I'm standing. Get over that lump. And I think I'm going to shift up to keep my cadence is going to stay probably in the 80s. So I really worked hard on that overpass. So I don't know if I was just feeling bad. I mean, I know the pace is high. I had 2 days off, Monday and Tuesday. Then I did this ride. Yeah, maybe I had blocked legs, but I think it wasn't the only factor. I think it's just the pace. I was not ready for this kind of riding. I have not been riding like this. It didn't help that I had 2 days off because you kind of want to stay on the bike to maintain your form when you start changing the way you ride. You start riding at a faster pace. You want to do some consistent training. So taking 2 days off didn't help, but I don't think it was the main factor. I think it's just 2 days off, you know, coming back to this kind of pace that is completely faster than what I ride, how I ride, yeah. Because if you want to improve your pace, you got to do some steady rides and bump up. You can't have too many interruptions in your training schedule And then after that, because usually when you have a few days off, you want to ease back into it. So I probably should have ridden the day before this one to kind of stay loose. It would have helped a little bit because it was like a shock to my system on this ride. At this point down here, I didn't feel too bad. I mean, where we're going, this road is a little more forgiving once you get across the overpass. It's somewhat leveled, flat the downhill a little bit, couple of bumps, you know, but nothing too drastic. So I probably took a drink here. I'm not even pedaling here because we're coasting downhill. You see in the distance, it goes downhill curves in the distance, gonna hit a slight bump, nothing long. Not as hard as the earlier part of Fishcreek. This section, they call it McCaleb Road. But I was not enjoying this part of the ride. So on the whole ride, I ended up really emptying the tank. So once I got this far with them, I stopped thinking about possibly turning around, and I decided, okay, I need to find a way to save energy and try to finish this ride with them. This was where I decided to continue. Get a bit of a break. See, my heart rate dropped like 20 beats almost from where it was on the overpass. It was like 171. It's like 151 here. That's a significant drop. It is due to the terrain. We're not really going that much slower, but with the terrain as it is, as a big guy, this kind of favors me somewhat. So, big guy in terms of cycling. So Kenny knows I'm struggling because when I waved him around, he knew. Because that's the reason I waved him around. I didn't want to leave a gap for him to close. So we're going, in a little bit, we're going to do a little jig where we cut through like a bypass to get on 105. And I'm going to tell Mo, you're killing me. And then Abby's gonna go to the front and slow things down a little bit, get a chance to catch my breath. But then my legs are already fried from this whole stretch, pushing them so hard, you know. But this is where I think Doug is gonna mention to Mo that we can turn, because we don't want to get directly on 105. They've already talked about it. We're gonna take a little bypass street here, because they have removed the shoulder from this stretch on 105 in the distance there. And so we have to use a main lane that used to be a shoulder. Now, I'm trying to be stingy here. I'm not doing any drastic acceleration. Just you can see I'm coasting because I know they're going to be turning. Because I can see the turn. We're going to turn left to get back to 105. 105 is in the distance there. We just did a little, you know, like a zigzag here, just a bypass. That's 105 in the distance. I don't know if this is where I'm going to tell Mo you're killing me. I said, boy, you're killing me. Laura laughed. I said, boy, you're killing me, man. Laura laughed. And so, more continues. I get behind Kenny here. This used to be the shoulder, and they've made it a third lane because of the construction. I don't know what they're doing in the middle there. I think they're going to put permanent concrete dividers to keep the traffic separated. They do that as the cities grow and the traffic volume increases, because the middle turn lane becomes hazardous when the roads are busier. That's what they're doing. So this will continue for probably about maybe a mile. Then the shoulder comes back. So we're using the main lane here. There's a car behind us. He's patient. We're doing 25, 26. He sees we're working. You know, we're not visiting or chatting. So they know he's serious. They don't mind. And I think he was planning on turning soon. So he just sat behind us. And this road is slightly up. Yeah, let's see, 2%. Yeah, and we're moving here. I'm still hanging off a deer light. So this is, I think this is old 105 road, if I'm not mistaken. Anyhow, we're going east now on 105. We're in Conroe, Texas. And so you got to make sure you clip in quickly. You're riding with these guys, because otherwise you get gap, you have to work hard. This is where the shoulder starts again. So we'll go ahead and jump on the shoulder. That's the guy who was behind us, that truck. I thought he was turning, but he wasn't. Well, he sat there patiently for the whole time we were using the road. They can tell when you're working hard. They don't, you're not messing around, goofing off, and just out there blocking people. They don't mind so much, most of them. I think somewhere around here, Abby is going to go to the front, and he's going to slow the pace down a little bit. It didn't really help me, because at this point, I have killed my legs already. This is a lot faster than I ride, period. So I got to do some work to ride with these boys. That's the plan. Gotta start raising our pace so that next time it's more tolerable. As I do this commentary, I've been off the bike since last Wednesday. Just busy with the holiday and the weather we got like just a batch of cold air that kept us below freezing the entire holiday weekend. So I really didn't go out. When it's 17 or 20, that's just too cold. Well, we ride, it will feel like 10. And I don't have enough stuff to put on to stay warm. No point to that. And I had no desire to get on the trainer, so I just took the time off, caught up on some other stuff. So gotta get back on the bike soon. I think Abby is leading here. Abby is leading right now. Mo is behind Abby. So he's keeping the pace a little more civilized. But, better late than never. But at this point here, I'm a bit cooked. I'll go ahead and drink. You know, I don't need any food or anything. Just need to get my legs to recover. Yeah, it's cold, so it's like Doug was trying to, blow his nose and stuff. It's like 6 Celsius. We're going into the wind. It's a cool morning. The sun barely came out on this ride. I stay mostly close to the white line because this shoulder has a lot of stuff that gets blown as cars go by. I don't like to ride too far to the right. It's not too bad. I mean, it's got some stuff that you can't see. So I stay pretty much where you see Laura and Kenny. That's the range I ride in. I'm staying a little on Kenny's right because the wind's coming from the left, from the north, and we're headed east. I'm trying to save as much energy as I can because I know we're going to be going through that neighborhood with I think it has a 17% climb or something like that. And after what I did on Fishcreek to hang with these guys, I'm like, I'm not going to push in the neighborhood. Because my goal now is to finish the ride. So it's a bit of a breather here thanks to Abby going up there and dropping the pace a bit. Get a chance to drink, sit up a little bit on the bike. That's what I'm doing. Gonna, just relax a little bit. But I've already decided I'm not gonna push in the neighborhood because I gotta save my legs. Because they're pretty much fried. It's like, and knowing that we're going to Shepherd Hill, I figured, man, we ended up climbing almost, 800 and some meters on this ride, 2,700 feet. It was a pretty good route, at the average 20.6. That was fast. On a flat course, it would be fast. So we're gonna wait a little bit here, and then we're going to.
Thank you, Abby, for slowing him down.
I thank Abby for slowing Mo down. So Abby says he's an old man who want to enjoy when he's riding. Old man or young man, that was fast. That is fast. This whole ride was fast. And so the light doesn't change for us. So we go ahead, once it's clear, we turn. I've already decided I'm gonna just ride my own pace through here. You have to, my legs are already fried. I've been pushing the whole time. So it's a combination of the pace being really fast, me not being used to it, I don't ride at this level, and then, 2 days off the bike, all of that, who knows. But it was just one of those things. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to change the way we're riding and get ready for this kind of riding. So we ride this hill a lot, so I know, right here it kicks up, they start to go, I let them go. I keep my effort probably 250-ish, I think. So Mo's in front, Laura's there, Doug is there, that's Kenny, and Abby's here. And right up in the distance, we're gonna turn. So all I'm doing is just staying within range. So you gotta use your head. They've already turned, that's where it kicks up. So I'm gonna turn myself, and I'm going to stand. You see the watts go up, but I'm not really going that fast. I'm trying to look for an easier ratio as I turn. Because I am really working. Look at my speed, 10 kilometers an hour. I'm not going that fast at all. My legs just feel tight. So I decide, okay, I'm just gonna stay within myself. So I sit down here. And the problem is once you get dropped, I'll go ahead and speed it up here. Because once you get dropped, it's kind of like your pace drops. So I can see them in the distance. You can't see them on camera because of the wide angle. But I go ahead and just hold my pace. This is slightly downhill, In a little bit, I'm going to turn right, which is what takes us to Longmire right here. I don't see them anymore. I know they've already turned. The stop sign is coming up. I'll get in the left lane here, and then I'm going to turn. Once I turn, then I see them. They've backed off the pace. You can see the lights in the distance. So I go ahead and keep riding. I figure I do about 20 miles an hour thereabout. And I ride up. So had I gone as fast as they were going, I probably wouldn't have been able to even ride on this street. Abby said there's a hell of a slow down. So yeah, it's kind of
that tempo of Fishcreek was fast.
I'm telling Abby that the tempo on Fishcreek was fast. I just never got used to it. So I'm telling him I need to come out with more.
Yeah. I have to ride because this weekend is going to be too cold. Yeah, it's going to be like 17. It's too cold. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Next week is looking good. Yeah. This weekend is out.
So we're talking about the upcoming change in temperatures. We're going to be like below freezing for the entire weekend. 17, 20 now. My limit is about the freezing mark, and it really, if it starts out a little below freezing, but it's going to warm up during the ride, then fine. But the weekend weather that came was like below freezing and it stayed there. This is not enough stuff you can wear for that. So right here they've backed off a little bit, you know, so we've got a chance. Abby and I are talking, you know. Abby and Laura talk about where we're headed, this area called Shepherd Hill. I don't think she had been there. Was going back to sit with Abby. I'm on Laura's wheel here. So I got a lot of help from Mo off camera as well. When we got to Shepherd Hill, there were a couple of hills where I just felt like, man, my legs were empty. And he'd push me and then I would, you know, you get that little impetus to get going. I ended up letting them go on the feeder road. The feeder road looked flat, but it was 5%. So that's the kind of terrain we're in. The flattest things were 5%. So we're dealing with 7+% repeated climbs, you know. So it was a great workout. It's just the pace was brutal. So we got to Taco Corner. I found out my rear wheel, the skewer was loose. I'm not sure what happened or how it came loose. So Kenny said, oh, that's why you were right. I said, nope, I had loose legs, not loose skewer. That loose skewer did not make a difference. You know, it just heard some kind of funny noise from the rear and checked it and it was loose. I tightened it and it was fine. But yeah, I had no bearing on what was going on. It was, the pace was just high. Just have to hang in there sometimes, and you gotta, you know, if it's the kind of group you want to ride with, then you gotta go prepare when you train, and then you gotta come back and ride with them. You've got to do the effort in training to be able to do it for real. So if you can't suffer in training, then you're not gonna be able to suffer in an event. It's that simple. There's a car on the left, but he let us go. So through this stretch, it was almost like an hiatus, and then you'll see once we get to Little Egypt Road, we get back. Mo's gonna go back to the front and say, "Okay, let's go." Yeah.
watching. Everybody watches. Guys, I'm gonna have to pick it up. I'm getting cold.
He says it's getting cold. We're gonna have to pick it up.
Yeah, it's getting colder.
Yeah, it was getting colder. You can see it says 5 Celsius. It had been saying 6 the whole time. That's about 2 or 3 degrees Fahrenheit. But yeah, we could feel the difference in the temperature when we got out here. It was cooler. In fact, there was the frost, like when you would speak. So you see it's a slight grade, like 2 or 3%. So we'll raise the effort. I'm being really stingy with my effort here. Anytime I can coast, I'll coast. I'm sitting right at sweet spot. As I said earlier, it didn't feel like sweet spot. It felt harder. I can't explain why. So maybe it was just one of those days, but I think the pace had a lot to do with it. So all the bumps are gone on this stretch anyway. We're approaching Highway 830, and we're gonna go straight. I just feel like I'm working hard still, you know, even though I shouldn't feel like I'm working hard, but I am. Get a green light. I'm hanging on and just sitting in, trying to conserve. This road has a few bumps, and then I figure we're going to Shepherd Hill and all of that. I need to work as minimally as possible, save the energy. The road goes up here. I don't think it's more than 3%. It says 1 right now. You can see I'm putting out almost 400 watts. That's what I need. Oh, it was like it's more than it's 2%. It's like 3. To whereas I normally ride between maybe 140 to 160, on this ride I was riding like 150 to 170, let's say. So the effort was harder than I normally ride, just overall. It still doesn't explain why I felt as badly as I did the whole ride, you know. Just, I don't understand it. I think it was a combination. I think the pace was an issue. The 2 days off was an issue, in my opinion. You know, but I think it was mainly just not riding at this level for such a long time. So, got to do more of this. And I won't have to hang on. Road's going up here. And I think there's a little bump before we get to the stop sign where we're going to be turning left. And I'm going to let the gap open and try to kind of ride, take advantage of cutting the corner. You know, every little trick I could come up with I tried to use to not have to expend too much energy. Felt like we were doing a long time trial. That's what it felt like. Although in a TT, you kind of can hold, you get a pace and you hold it. The pace here was not steady. I think we're approaching a stop sign here. We're going to turn left, cut through a little side street to get to 1097. So they start to go hard. I just keep my effort the same. You see, I cut the corner here. It's like I'm working really hard here. I was like, you know what? I'm going to save my effort here because we got more climbs coming up. I heard a dog barking. I didn't see him. He's in his yard. He just heard our chains probably.
Damn.
So it's like, like everything fell hard. So I keep riding. I'm doing almost 23 miles an hour. They're right at the corner there. I can see them, and I'm going to turn. So I keep them in sight. So had I tried to expend more effort on that hill, I probably wouldn't been able to keep riding. It's just you got to kind of hedge. Because what it did is they hammered the last climb before the sign. That's what we do. You come to a hill, you push. My legs were empty at this point. So I don't know what you did last week, but this is part of what I did on Wednesday before the freeze hit our area. So remember, get your K's in and keep the doctors far.
When you're